Grateful to have you join with me for the devotion for Thursday, March the 3rd. Before we begin with our passage today, I want to ask you to be praying for Bill, Irene, and Becky Wade. We are in Proverbs chapter 3. Again, 31 Proverbs, 31 days in March, so we are doing a proverb a day. Now, chapter 3 ought to be a breeze to do. Probably it has the most famous verse in Proverbs, saying that there are probably people, if they could not quote any other verse out of Proverbs, at least they've heard this verse. Trust in the Lord with all your heart, lean not unto your own understanding, in all your ways acknowledge him, and he shall direct thy paths. I was thinking about that, wonder how many times that's been given in a graduation card and things like that. And wow, that is an incredible verse with so much just truth, sound guidance for living. But because it is talked about so much, I'm not going to focus on that today. Truthfully, I'd like to focus on verse 3, which I spent a whole week on, a whole Sunday on a few weeks back. Let not mercy and truth forsake you. Bind them around your neck. Write them upon the tablet of your heart. Be intentional about writing mercy and truth on your heart so that you will find favor with God and man, but find favor and be highly esteemed in the sight of God and man. But we're going to go on and look at some things about wisdom. The next verse in verse 7, do not be wise in your own eyes, fear the Lord and depart from evil. Now that is kind of an interesting statement. Do not be wise in your own eyes, because Proverbs gives us the command multitudes of times in many places that we are to seek after wisdom, but yet he says don't be wise in your own eyes. Verse 12 of this chapter, verse 13, happy is the man who finds wisdom and the man who gains understanding, for her proceeds are better than the profits of silver, her gain like fine gold, more precious than rubies. All the things you may desire cannot compare to her. So he is talking about the great treasure of wisdom, but here, don't be wise in your own eyes. I think this gives us a picture that the wise person is a person of humility. The wise person is not a person that is puffed up with all I know. Look at me, how much better I am. It is this person, as it's going to talk about, who fears the Lord and departs from evil. And while they know God has instilled things in them and they seek after the things of God, they do not boast about their wisdom, their discernment, their understanding, or their knowledge. They walk in humility before the Lord. Don't be wise in your eyes. Have that humble faith that constantly looks to the Lord, day in and day out, asking God to give you understanding in all things. And of course, he says, fear the Lord and depart from evil. This is chapter 3, the third proverb. It mentioned the fear of the Lord in chapter 1, 2, and 3. The fear of the Lord. We care what God says above what everybody else says. Somebody, and it warns about this in Proverbs, where sinners may say, come and go along with us, go do this with us. But the fear of the Lord causes us to say, no, it's not what you try to pressure me to do, but it is what God says. I often say, we will either live our lives as many being our masters or as one being our master, the Lord. And when we fear God, he becomes our master. And I just want to go over to the very last few verses of this. Verse 32, where he says, the perverse man which is a devious person, a person who tries to trick other people. The perverse man is an abomination to the Lord. The Bible warns about people who are an abomination to God. But he says, but the secret counsel is with the upright. When we seek to walk in the fear of the Lord, when we seek God's wisdom, He's promised us He will give us His secret counsel. He will give us revelation. He will give us understanding that others who just read the Bible may not get, because our hearts are there wanting to know the ways of God. Verse 33, the curse of the Lord is on the house of the wicked, but He blesses the home of the just. Surely He scorns the scornful. Those who mock at the things of God, God will mock at them. But He gives grace to the humble, to that person who is not wise in their own eyes. And then he says, the wise shall inherit glory, but shame shall be the legacy of fools. Hey, I really enjoy Proverbs. I love the things it teaches us for daily wisdom. I encourage you to continue on your journey with us. And as you do, pray and ask God to give you wisdom from His Word and give you a hunger to walk in the way that honors Him. I hope you have a wonderful day. And again, thanks for joining